Okay. Right. Serious talk, eh? So tell me about the dangers. The dangers of witchcraft and magic and occultism and astral projection. Do it. Good question. And it does come up an awful lot, and a lot of people are rather scared because there could be dangers. You could be doing some damage to yourself. At the level that we're talking about here, I think the answer we're talking about is like, no. Think about it like this. Where do you get your sources which tell you you should be afraid of magic, witchcraft, occultism, astral projection, the power of prophecy, spiritual healing, Reiki, pendulum dowsing, and all the other stuff? Who tells you this? First source. Conservative Christian fundamentalists who are essentially using superstitious fear and dread as a means of controlling you and a form of terror against you in order to make sure you stay controlled by them, so that you end up, being part of them, giving your subs to the churches and believing what you're told to, so that you become a vessel for somebody else's politics, so that you stop being able to think and you end up doing as you're told. That's one particular type of person who will tell you that magic is danger. The other type, another type, is an actual occultist, magician or witch. Because they're trying to sell to you the understanding that they have power and therefore they should be someone you should be afraid of and you should revere. This is so that you do as you're told, you're under control, you feel a false sense of loyalty to whatever this thing is which you've been introduced to, and you then become a propaganda tool for that particular ideology, because all of your own individual ability to think has been destroyed by the power of superstitious fear and dread. Now, the other aspect, another type of person who will tell you that there's some variety of dangers could be a skeptic. Not because they believe, but because they just want to sort of like scare you away from something they don't understand or don't believe in or don't think is right. So all of these things are sources of fear. The other source of fear, of course, is fiction. All right, you get people watching, let's say, the Tarot movie that was out recently, which I still haven't seen yet, okay? And apparently it's ghastly, so I will probably sit back with some popcorn and really enjoy a bit of schlock horror. But these movies are designed to use superstitious fear and dread in order to create an ambience or an atmosphere for the purposes of making you kind of like hooked on the genre, on the director, on the actors, whatever. And to keep you spending money on and renting various different types of movies and buying various different types of books. These things like to sort of like get their hooks into you and turn you into someone who's living on this. Another possible source could, of course, be tabloid journalism. And tabloid journalism is all about clickbait and making sure you buy newspapers or subscribe to various different things purely for the purposes of either financial gain or political control, because often these things are somehow politically connected to various different parties and so on and so forth. And so therefore we've all got this massive tsunami of concerns and thoughts and fears and worry and, oh my god, this could be really, really harmful, I could do something terrible to myself, and what if it's something unseen like karma? Oh, most of these people haven't actually studied the concept of karma, so they wouldn't actually understand how that could be in any way whatsoever, and they also haven't actually been sufficiently intellectually critical to try and work out that there might be some more complicated meaning of the word karma. As a result of all of my experiences, I think there is very little to be afraid of at all. No, you can't die from an astral projection. I'm terribly sorry, but that is ridiculous. Why do I say that? Because you actually project every single night when you go to bed and you sleep. Alright? The other you, which looks identical to the physical you, but is actually inside your physical body, alright, goes for a float or a fly or a walk or whatever. Alright, it just gets outside, because that's essentially when it gets the energy that is required, so it is said in accordance with the theories of astral projection, in order to maintain and sustain your consciousness when you're awake. Right? So every single night you're actually projecting. Every single night. Not conscious, no. But unconscious, you're still doing it. So therefore, you might as well be terrified of going to bed at night. It's a ridiculous thing to think. Secondly, I've done a few astral projections. Doesn't matter how far away you go from your physical body, you've still got the astral connection, even though it appears very thin when you're a long way away from the physical body. Alright, but it's still there, pulling on the back of the head. You know, the stuff that Sylvain Muldoon talked about is accurate and proven by experience on my side of things, okay? So, don't worry about it. Play with these exercises. Realize that the reason that you're so afraid is because of all of these witches and all of these Christians and all of these skeptics who have got their own political agenda and all of the bad quality fiction which is out there. I mean, I saw my first ghost at about the age 4, okay? It's not like, you know, I'd read books upon psychic defense before the age 4. Come on, I didn't even know what a ghost was until I saw one, and then told my mother, and then she told me, well, maybe it was a ghost. And I said, Mum, what's a ghost? Because I didn't even know the word. Right? So, what are the real dangers? The real dangers are up here, in terms of what you think and how you think and whether you can think. The real danger is you making yourself subservient to other people or being loyal to another organization or another movement or another cult. Because if that happens, then essentially something inside you becomes loyal to that cult, and then your mind starts to go. And you start taking on board the groupthink, the behavioral patterns, the characteristics of those people around you, who aren't necessarily the source of people you should be getting your life lessons from, to be quite honest. Alright? So what is the point in being afraid of magic and witchcraft and astral projection and prophecy and divination and pendulum dowsing and Ouija boards, for crying out loud's sake? Right? The problem is not the tools. The problem is your associations and your fears. And those are there as a result of you having overheard or misheard with this, that and the other, and it's created like psychological blocks and obstacles and emotional reactions to things which maybe you shouldn't need to be afraid of. Come on. Bottom up processing, not top down processing. Top down processing is, I've got this idea and it must be true. Alright? Magic is dangerous. It must be true, therefore I will colour every single damn thing that I see based upon the idea of this top-down processing rather than bottom-up processing. We know nothing. All the folk myths about this could be untrue. Let's try and experiment and see basically what could be true and try and learn and grow from it. Now, if you want to try and find some really safe literature, you can go straight to Barbara Ann Brennan. Okay, Hands of Light and Light Emerging. Very good books. Relax. But it will also teach you a lot, and it will also show you some things which you can do to try and build your understanding. And from the point of view of building understanding, maybe you can experiment a bit further. For the last time, the number of things you've got to be afraid of when dealing with astral projection and magic and witchcraft and all the rest of that kind of stuff is as close to zero as you can possibly get. And a lot of the things that we do, such as the meditations, the relaxation exercises, which you do for preparation prior to this, that and the other, is in fact very good for you. Lowers your cortisol, relaxes you, reduces stress and anxiety, and is generally good. Alright, so if you're already someone who is terrified of the occult and magic and witchcraft and all this kind of stuff, maybe there's not much I can do for you. Alright, if you're someone who is drawn into a cult and everything has to be seen through that particular religion's point of view, then again I will struggle with you. But you've got to try and deal with both the fears, the superstitious fear and dread. Alright? And because like some of the stories that were told to you by your favourite Wiccan high priest might actually be a little incorrect. Alright? I'm just saying, alright? It might be a little incorrect, a little exaggerated, alright? Or you can go to various different places and people stand up on the stage and they will talk about, this, that and the other experience. Okay, well that's an interesting experience, but can I put that to the test? That's the question, okay? Can I put that to the test at home? Now, I'm a bit of a lunatic for Spooky 2 as well, you know. Okay, Spooky 2 is great, but I can put it to the test at home. Therefore, I can trust it, within certain limitations based upon experience. The same thing has to be true to a certain degree about what we do with meditation and magic and witchcraft and occultism. Okay, we experiment from home, bottom-up processing, not top-down processing. The dangers of the occult are zippity squat as far as I can tell. Alright? I've done astral projections. I've seen ghosts. I've had experiences of angels. I had a demon experience as well. I've done dark mirror scrying. I've done Ouija board seances. I've done ritual magic of various different types, including that inspired by the Lesser Key of Solomon. I've performed meditations based upon the Tree of Life and done some wonderful experiences during that, I can tell you. I've had communication from guides. I've had messages coming as a result of opening the chakras. Occasionally I've done remote viewing very successfully, but it was occasionally. I have delivered spiritual healing energy to people, and they said they could feel fire and lightning coming from my hands. I've been playing around with this stuff for a while. I see zippity squat dangers. Zippity squat. If you're someone who's still there, still thinking after all that I've told you now, there's all of this stuff you should be terrified of, never even try and do an astral projection. No, no. It's like you're coming across the kind of people on the road to the Castle Dracula in some variety of Hammer horror movie. Oh, don't do it, don't do it. But it's like Dracula isn't there, right? He's long gone. You know, you're just going up to the castle. There'll be a nice, like, little ticket office outside. You can go and buy a ticket, nice tour guide who can show you around, and it'll all be very, very nice. But still, there's that mad person on the road up to the castle there, and they're going, don't go to Castle Dracula, it's evil. Well, and basically, like, the most evil thing that you'll have is a badly brewed cup of coffee after the gift shop. Come on. Alright, speak to you in a bit. God bless you all. Or not, as the case may be, depending upon who you are, what you think, and what is comfortable to you. Okay, bye for now.